everybody, this is James,
Marco,
Nabil,
and Mikey.
And this is the Movie Pals Podcast, episode 212. Today we are continuing our segment titled The Pals' Favorite Films of the Century, followed by a review of the sequel to Wicked for Good. Let's get into it.
All right, everybody, we're back with the Pals' favorite films of the century. As you all know, we are counting down from the year 2000 to the current year of our favorite films. Last episode, we went over the years of 2005 to 2009, with each pal going over 2 honorable mentions, then a countdown of their number 5 to number 1 picks. So this week, we're going to go over the years 2010 to 2014. So let's just jump right into it. And we're going to start with you, Mikey. So you're up on deck. What are your picks for this 5-year span?
Well, I kind of just went through like 2015, 2020, so I'm just playing. No, I'm good. So, so let's start with my honorable mentions here. So my honorable mention number 1 is from 2013 and is The Wolf of Wall Street. Directed by Martin Scorsese, it's got Leonardo DiCaprio, Jonah Hill, Margot Robbie. And I think this movie as a whole is pretty solid. It's got great acting. The story is not really subtle in its approach to kind of showing off people that are trying to live in access. So I kind of liked it. It was kind of different. A lot of times they try to like hide the message they're trying to do. This one's not. It's just going straight at it. And just rewatching it, I enjoy. There are some scenes in this movie that every time I watch it, I just love them. You know, there's just really notable scenes in this one here. And I think I like the scenes more than I like the movie itself. Like I just like those certain scenes more.
So
and that's why it's an honorable mention. Yeah.
Right.
So I thought, because of that, and I as a whole, it's still a good movie, just not as good as those scenes. That's why it's an honorable mentions instead of in the top 5.
Sure. Good pick.
Honorable mention number 2 is Toy Story 3 from 2010. This is an animated feature from Pixar, I think, right? It's Pixar, not Disney, right? Yeah.
It's a Pixar one, yeah.
And this one's
Same
voiced
company.
same thing, yeah. This one's voiced by Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Joan Cusack's in it as well. And I just feel like all the Toy Story movies have really done well with like changing the theme of what the movie is about and making it really relatable. And this one kind of tackles growing up and letting go. And it's really relatable to me and how it is. And then this one kind of has a lot of more, in my opinion, at least more emotional scenes in it than some of the previous ones. So it kind of is a little bit, I connected a little bit more with this one, I guess, than some of the other ones. So really good one, animated. You can watch it with your kids if you have them. And it's just got pretty much something for everybody, I think.
I remember it. I think I watched it with James in the theater at the time, if I remember correctly. And I was like tearing up at the end with him. And yeah, there was a lot of feelings happening with that ending scene.
On to my number 5. It's hitting the top 5s here. So my first movie is it's 2013's Prisoners. This one's directed by Denis Villeneuve. Is that his name? Is that how you say his name?
Denis Villeneuve.
Okay. Yeah. It's got Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, Paul Dano's in it as well. So this whole movie has a lot of tension throughout the whole thing, like from beginning to end almost. And it's really interesting how Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal's characters handle the stress. They're very different people and they handle it in very different ways. And it's just really interesting how it shows. And this one, in my opinion, should have got nominated for more than just cinematography. It does have good cinematography, so I agree with that one here. But I think especially Jake Gyllenhaal for supporting actor should have definitely got a nod for this one. And it would have been higher on my list, but it's not a movie that you're going to watch a million times. It's it's very heavy. It's got a lot of stuff going on in it. And so it's a little bit lower on my list because of that. Number 4 for me is a movie that I recommend to a lot of people. A lot of people love it too. So it's 2011's Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And this movie, I think we've talked about these ones. I think we actually did it when the new one came out, right? We did all of them.
We did all of them.
Yeah. So we talked about this one in the past here, but I really feel like that does a crazy good job of just taking a barely speaking ape is the main character of this movie. And there's a lot of emotion. Andy Serkis is crazy good mocap artist. And he takes this, person that doesn't speak very much and just through his actions takes and makes a very meaningful character. So I just like the way they do that. This is also that kind of like I talked about Avatar last week or last pod, where they make it so you don't even know the CG is existing. Like you don't know these are not real monkeys. Actually, it's crazy how good the quality of the CG is in this movie.
The
just
visuals
like in
are
Avatar.
very strong. Yeah,
It's
compared
crazy.
to a lot of the other films we've seen up to this point. Like it is very realistic.
It still kind of tracks too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the orangutan especially is nuts. Like I thought it was a real orangutan because it doesn't really talk that much. So it's like I figured they just put a real one in there, but it's not. So pretty crazy. Really good movie overall, and it's a beginning of a lot of really good movies. So if you like this one, you got a lot of stuff you can watch afterwards and kind of carry the goodness.
I would say that's a solid pick, Mikey. I really like that movie.
It's just a universal thing too. Like pretty much everybody can like that movie. At least I feel
does
like.
a really good job at blending like the sci-fi ness of it with like and grounding it. Like the way it seemingly does that, it works so well. Because at some points you forget you're watching a Planet of the Apes movie. Because like the chemistry between James Franco and John Lithgow is just so strong. And then even just like the bond that they make with Caesar. Yeah,
and even though it's like an ape movie, the human element of the movies are done really well. Mm-hmm. And each movie kind of tackles a different type of human like emotion and like the different characters. So I really just the whole series is just great in my opinion. So all right, so on to my number 3 pick. This is 2010's Tron Legacy. Now we just talked about this one too in a recent podcast when the third one came out. But this is Jeff Bridges and Garrett Hedlund.
Sorry, nobody remembers them either. That's fine. Keep going.
But I love what they did to upgrade the grid. They have this whole new space. It's just perfectly done as far as that part goes. And really, this is just like the best movie soundtrack you could ever have, I guess, in terms of a movie. But the whole storyline, the characters are great. Just everything about this is really good. And again, we just talked about this, so I'll kind of just leave it at that. If you've seen our other ones, you already know how we feel about this one. So on to number 2 here. It's 2014's John Wick. This is kind of like Iron Man I talked about a couple pods ago here. This is not only a great action movie, has a good story, and Keanu Reeves has a great performance, but it starts a series of great movies, just like I just talked about with Rise of the Planet of the Apes. So if you watch this one and haven't seen this series of movies, then you have a lot of content you can watch off of this one here. So I think it's a really nice starting point for a lot of the things here. And it's just a good movie in itself.
Yeah. Really. I mean, I remember seeing this one like weeks after it came out because it was pretty like limited, I think, when it first came out.
It was pretty low key release. Yeah.
It was like word of mouth helped out with that movie a lot, I remember. So.
It was when Keanu Reeves was kind of fumbling through.
Coming. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He had a few like, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We can't even mention any movie around that time. We're like,
no.
He was in things.
On to my number 1. This is 2010's Inception.
God, we should walk away from this.
Hold on. If I were to do this, if I even could do it, I'd need a guarantee. How do I know you can deliver?
You don't. But I can.
That's Christopher Nolan. Leonardo DiCaprio, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Elliot Page, and metric shit ton of another bunch of other people here are also in this as well. And I just love how this movie takes a very complex concept and breaks it down in a way where normal people can kind of understand it in a little bit of a way. I'm not a fan of Tenet, but I think he tried to do the same thing he did with Inception with that one, have this really complex concept and kind of bring it down to normal people's level where they can kind of enjoy the performance and the spectacle that he has. It's just really shot well. It's kind of crazy how like the timelines between like the different dreams are kind of different too. Like you see a car falling for literally like an hour of the movie. So it's kind of weird how they kind of play off that and they kind of explain it. But I just like everything they did with it. It's there's across the board just great performances. It's a good storyline. It's not too complex for being such a complex concept. So I think it breaks down well and lets us kind of just ride along with the movie.
Yeah, the tension builds throughout that film, and you really don't know where it's going to go, or as you go deeper into the mind, like the layers that he's able to build into it, and the spectacle, the view, like the shots that he does in there, the technicality of everything. Like there were so many, I think, maybe not necessarily first, but definitely the perfect execution of some of these shots and like these setups where it's just something that I don't even think we've really come to see very often, except for someone like Christopher Nolan to put on screen.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good pick.
Good stuff.
Did I see it with you guys?
I don't know if I watched this one with you.
Maybe?
I might have seen this one. This might have been too early in 2000.
Yeah, I
It was
think this is
2010.
Yeah, 2010.
2010,
This might have
yeah.
been a little early.
I might have seen this with Marco, honestly.
Yeah,
We might have
I
seen
want
this
to.
together.
Say,
A dream
We-
within
we-
a dream within a dream.
yeah, we were really intrigued by the whole hallway fight scene because like it
Yeah.
was done practically
Yes.
with the room spinning and
Pretty cool.
We were like, damn, that's awesome.
This is when I was like, man, Leo's going to win that Oscar for this movie.
Guess what? He did.
And then he didn't. And I was like, all right, never mind. A lot of good memes out of this movie, too. So many memes.
Oh, yeah.
His
Yeah.
little squinty face.
Yeah, squinty eyes.
And the
Leo
bar.
squints.
The little bar. Yeah. There's a lot of good ones in this one.
Oh.
But I love the even how it ends, Mikey. I love the ending. It's kind of just leaves it
Yeah.
up to you. Like, I don't know. Maybe he's not in it. Maybe he is. So good pick, man.
Yeah. Solid choices, Mikey. All right, Marco, we're going to go to you. What are your picks for this era of film?
We'll start with my honorable mentions. The first one is 2011's Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Not much more I can add that Mikey hasn't said about this movie, but I agree with what he said that this is the start of a really great franchise. We were talking kind of off screen a little bit about the connectivity between the characters, specifically with James Franco and John Lithgow's characters. Like it was really touching, and I really liked that humanistic aspect of it. At times it blends like just a basic normal emotional drama with sci-fi aspects, and I think it mirrors those two things great, which I really appreciate. That I love when movies do things with a genre and it doesn't really appear like what it's supposed to be at face value. So really appreciated the movie, but for reasons it just didn't really make it up to my list. On to my next honorable mention is 2014's John Wick.
Mikey
Another-
specials.
I know, right? So I was just kind of blown away by the type of action movie it is. It's the plot is very like simple revenge story, but it's very big in scope as far as like how the escalation goes, where one event leads to another, and John Wick has to make it, you know, past all these people in order to get to his objective. And I like the way that it creates the legend of John Wick and just how much of a badass he is. The action was really great, and I'm a sucker for action movies and really good action movies. And this movie reminded me of like early 90s, like True Lies type of action movies that we rarely get, where it's just, you know, it's a situation that someone's in and they got to get through it. And that's what we have. And in a world of just franchises, and I know this became one itself, but it's not based off of a comic or a book. It's just, you know, a straight up action movie, and I appreciate it for that. But, you know, for other reasons that you'll find out in different pods, it just didn't make it to my top 5 list. All right, on to my top 5, starting with number 5, 2013's Fruitvale Station. Directed by Ryan Coogler and stars Michael B. Jordan and Melanie Diaz. I didn't see this movie in theaters, but I'm from Oakland myself, so movies that are actually from the Bay Area and Oakland are pretty close to my heart. And it's not only Ryan Coogler's first movie, but it's the first Ryan Coogler movie I ever saw. And I liked the whole indie aspect of it. I liked that it focuses on Oscar Grant's just snapshot of his life on the last like few moments of his life. And it kind of shows you that people are imperfect. You know, they're not perfect, whether, you know, something tragic happens to them or not. You know, our lives, you know, are wild, and anything could happen in our lives, you know, good or bad. And it kind of makes you look into your own life and really appreciate, you know, the things in your life, because you never know when something terrible could happen. And again, what really stood out for me is the fact that, you know, some of these biographical movies try to make a person look, you know, extremely good or extremely bad. And this one just really kind of balances out. And it's just like, it's just a person. It's just a guy, you know, good actions, bad actions. We're human at the end. And it really had a strong impact on me and really kind of just made me kind of, I guess, appreciate life after watching it and thinking like, you have a bad day, at least you still have, tomorrow. We're lucky enough to have tomorrow. So that's why I made it on my list.
Yeah, good movie. I saw this one in theaters, actually.
Nice.
So I remember like Ryan Coogler, first start of some big stuff, man.
Yeah.
The beginning.
It was. On to number 4 is 2014's X-Men Days of Future Past, directed by Bryan Singer and starring Hugh Jackman and James McAvoy. I'm a huge X-Men fan. I think this is still to date the best X-Men movie. I know for a lot of people it's X2. For me, it's Days of Future Past. I think it really encompassed the best of the old crew and the new crew, specifically with Wolverine, Logan. And we also got to see the older 2000s X-Men shine in the future scenes. But I liked, the story was great. It was one of my favorites as a kid when they did it with the X-Men cartoon, and for them to put it on the big screen and selecting this story specifically, I think it worked, and it really showed the potential of what the X-Men franchise could be if done right. And the sequence when Quicksilver slows everything down and is just running around like the kitchen and moving bullets around and stuff, it's still probably one of my favorite scenes in an X-Men movie, and I think it's super awesome. And for that, it made my list.
Almost
Yeah, it
made
was-
mine too. Yeah.
Same.
It was that scene definitely is the one that stood out, but it was really cool to kind of see the old school and I guess at that time, the new school kind of getting merged together as well.
Yeah, it showed what could have been. On to my number 3, 2011's Drive, directed by Nicholas Winding Refn. It stars Ryan Gosling and Carey Mulligan. This movie is another one of those snapshot in people's lives, and again, huge sucker for that. But it's a very simple story of Ryan Gosling playing a driver that gets into a situation just by happenstance, and I liked the simplicity of it. I liked how the soundtrack also helps carry the movie, and it's not like a very popular soundtrack, but the music really goes hand in hand with the movie. There's a specific scene where he takes his romantic crush and her son on a drive, and it's just such a beautiful scene. It's just him just driving, like the movie's called Drive, but it goes in well with the music. It's shot so well and beautiful, and I think it still stands out as one of Ryan Gosling's best movies and one of the best movies that came out in 2011.
And you know who else is in that film? Just with a low key role? Oscar Isaac. Just
Oscar
there.
Isaac, yes,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
his with a really weird name, Standard.
Yep.
Also, didn't we all give this one like super high scores when we reviewed it on the 4K?
Yeah,
one?
I want to say yeah.
Excellent
We did it
film.
a year ago.
Yeah, that
Last
sounds
year?
about right.
Yeah, we did. Oh man, it looks so good in 4K too. On to my number 2, 2014's Interstellar, directed by Christopher Nolan, stars Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway, along with Michael Caine. This movie is magnificent, man. I saw this movie probably 3 times in theaters, minimum. It's just incredible. I actually did a rewatch of it because I hold it in high regard. I know that a lot of people really like Inception, which I do too. It almost made it on my list, but this movie is just outstanding for me, man. Like the whole journey of Matthew McConaughey's character throughout the movie and his journey from where he started to where he ends up in the movie, I think is just incredible. It's like 2001, a modern 2001: A Space Odyssey. Really great space epic, something that really calls to me. I'm a huge fan of space and space travel, and I really did a good job at grounding that and making it as real as it could. Obviously, it's for some people it's not perfect, but for me, I think it's such a perfect movie.
Yeah, really good one.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's a hard pick. There's a lot of, between this and Inception, like Nolan. And I think,
man, it
there's
was
another Batman film during this period too. So,
Yeah, Dark Knight
Yeah.
Rises.
Yeah.
yeah.
it was tough, but the rewatch definitely helped. And if you haven't seen it, that ending, it'll definitely leave you with a feeling. On to my number one, 2012's Skyfall.
Subject is not approved for field duty and immediate suspension from service advised. What is this if not betrayal? She sent you off to me knowing you're not ready, knowing you would likely die. Mommy was very bad.
Directed by Sam Mendes, starring Daniel Craig as 007 and Javier Bardem. This is my absolute favorite Daniel Craig 007 movie. And this movie calls back to when we did our whole James Bond marathon going through all his movies. And this one, even when we did it then, still stands out. It stood out on my rewatch for this as well, too. And honestly, just a caveat, this movie and Interstellar could be interchangeable. It was really hard to pick between the two. But upon watching this, I remember the feeling I got when I watched Skyfall for the very first time. And the scene where he's chasing Javier Bardem's character and how it unravels and how James Bond is just absolute clutch in this, man. Like, he's, been through the gauntlet, and, I try not to spoil too much, but from where he started in the movie to where he is at that point during that scene is just incredible, because he's, fighting demons and he's going up against the odds, and he's just still able to have that charm and that badassness of James Bond. And for that reason, this movie made my number one.
Good pick, man.
Yeah, that's a solid pick, to be honest. It's a really good Bond film.
Also saw this movie 3 times in theaters.
Yeah.
definitely worth it.
I think this was an IMAX too, right? So it was one of the ones that looked really well too on the big screen. Well, that's awesome. I think you've got some solid picks here, Marco.
Thank you.
I guess I'll jump into my picks next. We're going to start with my honorable mentions. My first one is Fast 5.
I don't have friends. I got family.
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 Family?
Family. Family.
Your family.
There's all kinds of family, Brian.
Disrespecting my whole family.
And now you found your family with these drift nuts.
Sinhan was family.
That came out in 2011 and stars Vin Diesel and Paul Walker. It was the first Fast and Furious film directed by Justin Lin, or the second one, actually. I'm sorry. This is peak Fast and Furious franchise. Everything gets fantastical, even more so, and amps even more going forward. But right here is, to me, like The Rock, Vin Diesel going at it in Brazil. Weird car. They got enough mix of the car chases, and then they've also doing some kind of heisting for kind of the second time, but really it's just at an epic scale. Just a solid film.
This is when they kind of started amping things up a little bit, right?
Yeah, things started getting really ramped up from here.
Started to become more of a really action packed rather than just a heist movie.
Really focus on the family.
Family.
My next honorable mention is a film that I actually watched for the first time with James back a couple years after it came out, I believe. It's 2011's Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Oh, you brought this one up before.
Good.
Yeah,
I have. This is a great film. Stars Alan Tudyk and Tyler Labine, and was directed by Eli Craig. This is a funny horror film, and it's just, I can't recommend this enough. Every time I think about this film, I hear people that are looking for like different kind of horror films. This is just like puts it up the general genre of a horror film upside down and on its head, because you're looking at the perspective of guys who seem like the villains, but really aren't. They're just normal people, and these kids are out over here getting themselves into harm's way, and it's really the characters Tucker and Dale that you're following that are watching this happen and not understanding why these kids are out essentially killing themselves. And it's just a bunch of hilarity. It's a classic horror film, and I wish they'd make more of these, because it seems like it would be ripe for some kind of sequel.
Yeah, for sure. This one's great, man. It's a must watch if you haven't seen it before, in my opinion.
Yeah, I never got to see this one, but I've heard you guys talk about this too, and so I definitely got to knock this off my list.
All right, going into my top 5, we're going to start with the number 5 with 2012's The Master. This is the Paul Thomas Anderson directed film starring Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman, and we've talked about this on the pod in a few ways before. James and I both kind of mentioned it, but just visually every single time I think about this film, it's just the visuals are what stands out. It is a perfectly filmed movie. The story is very interesting. Philip Seymour Hoffman's a great actor in this, especially. He's very captivating, and Joaquin Phoenix is a piece of shit in this film, but in all the right ways. Like he's just terrible, but also you're interested to see where things go. Like it's a very good, long, but great dialogue that you kind of aren't really sure what everybody's motives are, but are also interested to see where things are going to play out. And just a really solid Paul Thomas Anderson film.
This movie was brought up on a YouTube video I was watching about the look of film versus digital, and you called it, Nabil. The visuals on this look incredible. It's really awesome.
Going into my number three pick is one we've already talked about here. It's 2014's John Wick, again starring Keanu Reeves and directed by Chad Stahelski. Just gung fu and Keanu Reeves and cool hotels, and also, unfortunately, a sad scene of a dog dying that kicks off the whole thing. So, great film. My number it is my number three pick, which I'm surprised nobody called on yet about this, but it is 2014's Captain America: The Winter Soldier. This was directed by Joe and Anthony Russo and stars Chris Evans as well as Samuel Jackson and Scarlett Johansson. This is just it's a good Marvel film, but also just a good like espionage action kind of comic booky film as well. And I every time I watch this movie, it for me could just stand alone as a good Captain America film, to be honest. And it is, but it's got like a good mix of spy and espionage in there, while also some badass fighting with kind of Captain America just being at his peak.
It was tough to take this one off my list, man. I agree with everything you said, Nabil.
Yeah,
it was really good. But I think I just wanted to not just put comic book movies on my list. Otherwise, that's all that would be on there.
Going into my number two, again, a film we've already mentioned here. It's 2010's Inception, directed by Christopher Nolan, Leo DiCaprio starring in here, as well as a bunch of other people. I agree with everything you guys said. It's just a great, insightful film that was able to, like you were saying earlier, Marco, a movie that was able to break down a very high concept into a way that anybody can kind of, or hopefully, mostly anybody can try to understand and grasp. And especially the way he brought it visually on screen makes it even more enticing to kind of feel like you're really immersed in this world. And my number one pick, no surprise probably for anybody here, is just like Marco, 2012 Skyfall.
This is the sound a doggy makes. Mr. Connery.
Moo.
No.
Well, that's the sound your mother made last night.
I love this film. I think it is slowly, or if not, has already become my favorite Bond film overall. And I obviously do like Bond movies. We've reviewed them all, but man, just like the opening scene where Bond is chasing after a bad guy on a train and jumping cars, and then they showed in the trailer, he jumps into one of the cars while the other one's behind him, and he just pauses and fixes his suit and then continues forward. Like, that in itself just tells you how cool this film is going to be from the get. They've got the classic cars. It has a great cap off of the story with M as Judi Dench playing M in this series, and everything kind of unfolds to show the actual like Bond person, James Bond, kind of becoming who he was supposed to be. Like, it's fully realized in this movie from start to finish, because they address his past while also kind of moving forward with him as a character as well. So it is just a solid movie, a solid James Bond film, great spy film. But overall, I think just an excellent film for this 5-year span.
It's James Bond's like Dark Knight. It shapes who he is. That movie.
And surprise everybody, this is James. Just jumping in here because you probably haven't heard me too often on this episode because we ran into a lot of technical issues with my Wi-Fi or internet in particular. So I am just going to actually be recording out the rest of my top 5 with honorable mentions just to kind of make sure that we have an episode here for the week. But for anything for our Wicked for Good review, Mikey, I believe, will be posting some stuff on social media. So keep an eye out for that. So I'm going to go through my list, and then I'm just going to end it out. It's going to be a nice, sweet, short episode for you guys. I promise we'll have this figured out by next episode. But going to my top movies of 2010 to 2014, my honorable mentions, my two honorable mentions, I have Tron Legacy in 2010, Joseph Krasinski. That is a movie that we talked about. I like the soundtrack just like Mikey did. I think the action is great in it. Cool little story. And my other honorable mention is going to be Despicable Me for 2010, directed by Pierre Coffin and Chris Renaud. This was the first movie I ever went to see with my now girlfriend. At the time, was not my girlfriend yet, so holds a special place in my heart. It's one of those kind of cute little animated stories about a cold-hearted person that finds love and happiness. I can relate. So, up down to my top five. My number 5 movie is going to be Hunger Games: Catching Fire from 2013, directed by Francis Lawrence. I'm a big fan of the books for this series, and I thought this was a perfect adaptation. Greatly acted, and the look of it all was a really good overall feel to it all. It has a good mix of action, a lot of drama too, but it's got some pretty dark for a YA kind of novel. That's an adaptation of it all. My number 4 movie is going to be The Avengers from 2012, directed by Joss Whedon. I actually went, the first time I ever saw this was a marathon with Nabil. And when we went to go see this, we saw Iron Man 1, 2, Thor, Captain America, followed by The Avengers. So we were in this Berkeley theater for hours on end with me, him, and another one of my friends. And I remember it was just like, I swear to God, it was something like 6 to 7 hours of movies, or maybe even 8 hours. I'm not sure. But it's a memory I hold dear to me. It's one of those things that haven't done anything crazy like that since, but and while the movie itself has maybe not aged as well because of people's hatred toward Joss Whedon nowadays, but I thought it was a really good, fun film. So my number 3 film is going to be Interstellar, 2014 film by Christopher Nolan. Just like everybody else said that brought it up, I think this is a really unique story. There's a lot of cool moments in this movie as well with the sci-fi, and it's somewhat realistic. And I love the part of the planet where basically it's the longer you're there, the more time has actually passed. And I think the sad, because there's a sadness to the story of kind of missing out on Matthew McConaughey missing out on his children's like growing up. I thought that was really something kind of devastating. Number 2 film is 2011's Drive. I think Marco also said he liked this one. Unfortunately, I couldn't tell because I couldn't hear anything because my internet kept going out, everybody. But this is directed by Nicholas Winding Refn. Refn? I don't know. I don't think he's done a good movie since this, so honestly, I just like this movie. Just oozes style. We've talked about it in a previous pod. I mean, I know Marco said it's not a popular soundtrack, but I think a lot of the songs in there became popular after the fact. So, my number 1 movie, though, is 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Hey, listen to me, you big blue bastard. Take those headphones off. That's mine. Those belong in Impound, that tape, and that player is mine! Hooked on a feeling. Blue Swede, 1973, that song belongs to me!
Directed by James Gunn. I think this is a perfect blend of sci-fi, action, comedy, drama. This is really like some peak Marvel stuff, I think. I think this is one of those movies that has a good message about family, much like the Fast and Furious movies, Nabil there, but I think overall it does a good job of really portraying a bunch of outcasts and people that don't feel like they belong, and them kind of coming together to create something kind of beautiful. So those are our top 5s, 2010 to 2014. Once again, I do apologize for all the technical difficulties there for this episode, but that is going to wrap up episode 212. You still got plenty to go through here. Just kind of listen through, see what you want to hear. Once again, listen out for our socials: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We'll be posting some stuff about what our opinions of Wicked for Good are. So just keep an eye on that as well. Tune in to next episode 213. We're going to be continuing our favorite films of the century. This time we're going to do movies from 2015 to 2019, as well as a review of Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair. So once again, thank you for listening. This is the Movie Pals signing out.